Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 165. Oh, tonight have I got topics. A really long and involved topic that took a fair amount of research to put all of my ducks in a row to make sure I represent it as accurately and especially chronologically accurately as I can. Perhaps some warm-up topics first. So, a little bit self-serving, but I'm the only one here. So, let me serve myself by talking a little bit about the Extra Life charity event. Now, one of the stretch goals, if we raise X amount of dollars, I'll do a thing, is at midnight I will play an adult game. It will be Extra Life After Dark. It would be a steamy experience. So last year, we reached that stretch goal, and we played Senran Kagura Reflections, which is barely a game and super dumb, but dumb in that incredibly entertaining way. You know, you sit there playing the game, just looking at it going, why even is this? So it was interesting from that standpoint. So I wanted to recreate that experience. I wanted another one of those. So I bought a game called Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter, which, as the title might imply, yes, River, I'll talk about that in a little bit. As the name might imply, it involves schoolgirls, girls in a school hunting zombies. Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter. So you have fetishized, sexualized schoolgirls in a school wearing schoolgirl outfits, besieged by zombies that they blow away with all manner of high-powered weaponry. So handguns, shotguns, machine guns, rocket launchers, sniper rifles. And as they take damage, their clothing shreds until they're wandering around in their undies. But one more thing. You can purposefully strip and throw your clothes at the zombies to distract them, because for some reason they're distracted by your clothes but not your underwear-clad bod. So I read about this game and I thought, that sounds terrible, but in that hilarious way. That would be fun to play for an hour round about midnight during the charity stream. Chaos says might be an offshoot of Onechambara. I believe it is. I think it takes place in the same universe. Don't hold me to that, but I think so. I didn't play far enough in the game to find any definite links, but I think it is supposed to be an offshoot of Onechambara. Which is another game that looks amazing. You have a cowboy hat wearing, feather boa wearing, dual sword wielding woman in her in a bikini fighting zombies alongside her sidekick in a schoolgirl outfit. And then there's another woman in like a sexy police uniform. And they wander around and they fight the undead, some of which involve undead orcas. It sounds amazing, doesn't it? Well, unfortunately, all of the Onechambara games I've played, one of them, is bad. Is just terrible in a not fun way. It's just really boring. And unfortunately, so is Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter. I mean, it is painfully dull. I expected a bad game, but this is just boring. It's not even fun to make fun of. It's insufferable. I played through like halfway through the second chapter, seeing like maybe it gets good or gets tolerable late. Glad I did not pay much money for it. So I'm gonna have to get a different game because this is just not going to work. It's not fun. It's boring. The premise is funny. It sounds like silly fun for an hour, but oh God, it's just bad. River, yeah, the Onechambara game on the Wii is the one I played, um, and it's just bad. It controls bad. It looks bad. The premise is silly to, as River says, hold your attention for maybe an hour. Onechambara on the Wii is better than Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter. Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter is just utterly abysmal in like every single possible way. So there's $20 I'll never see again. So I'll have to spend more money getting. Hey, Dave. All right. But I have my eye on another one that looks promising and is even more expensive. So Dave's Super Metal Dave's in the stream, and he'll be by at some point, probably Saturday evening, during the charity event. So that'll be fun. Okay, so Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter, that was a dud. Oh well, it happens. So moving on to something River mentioned a couple minutes ago. This is something I noted on I think it was a Nintendo Direct a few weeks back. Chaos, I am looking into, it's a game called Gun Pixies. And it looks weird and adorable and obnoxious and charming, and it's expensive, but I think it might make a good hour's worth of fun during late during the stream. So if you've heard anything about it, let me know. Yeah, it just came out like a week ago. So, in other news, a couple weeks back in a Nintendo Direct, Nintendo announced the next in a long line of underappreciated Wii U games coming to the Switch. Itchy nose. Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore. So I don't have it in arm's reach, but I played Tokyo Mirage Sessions on the Wii U, and I really, really liked it, especially because I used a patch to put the removed content back in where it belonged. So I played the uncensored version. Haha. Haha, Nintendo. You still got my money, but I still saw the cleavage in the areas that you covered up, even though you didn't cover it up in other areas. So it was really inconsistent. You weirdos. Omega Labyrinth Life. Oh yeah. I remember that one. That might be a bit too naughty for the stuff like Senran Kagura. Actually, I'm getting off topic, but interact with the chat. Chaos is talking about Peach Beach Splash, which is a Senran Kagura game. It's essentially a multiplayer shooter just with squirt guns. So it's a multiplayer shooter, but you run around in your swimsuit and shoot squirt guns. I'm actually thinking about that one too, except there's probably nobody actually playing that. So, but I also did a Senran Kagura game last year. I was also thinking about the pinball game. The nice thing about Senran Kagura is it's ecchi without being hentai, if that makes any sense. It's lewd without being ribald. I can play single player, yeah, but and it's only $25, so it was something I was thinking about. But getting back on topic with Tokyo Mirage Sessions, I watched the trailer for Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore, which is a super special edition of the Wii U version coming to the Switch, and I looked at it and I thought, you know what? I bet it has all the same localization changes that the Western version of the original game on the Wii U had. And then I forgot about it because I already played it on the Wii U, so it doesn't matter. Well, reports are coming out that, unsurprisingly, the Western version is based on the Western version and will have the same costume and age and other slight content changes. One not so slight, but it's not really relevant. But not only that, the Japanese version is based on the Western localization too. Not only that, but The Japanese website for the game was originally using screenshots from the original Japanese version of the game, which is not representative of the new Japanese version of the game. So in a way, Nintendo kind of lied to its Japanese fans, implying, not directly stating, but implying that they'd be getting the, as they got the first time, the uncensored, un-Western localized version of the game, but they are not. And Japanese fans, in my humble opinion, rightly pitched a fit about that. And Nintendo actually responded apologizing, saying, "We hereby apologize to customers for the mistake and for not delivering enough information regarding the contents of prior notification for Japanese name for the game, scheduled to be released next year." And it goes on and on there. So they're offering a refund, and they've updated the website with the proper screenshots. Are they going to make the uncensored or the unlocalized version, if you prefer, available? No. Probably not. At least they haven't said they will. But another interesting thing happened. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe. But the Wii U version of the Wii U version of Tokyo Mirage Sessions, the uncensored version, is currently #1 on Amazon Japan. So it looks like Japanese gamers said, "Cancel my pre-order, I'm buying the unlocalized, uncensored version." Will that convince Nintendo that their localization changes don't really seem to appeal to anybody? Like, it's really weird to make these specific localization changes to such a niche game. Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. It even sounds like a game that's going to have a pretty niche player base. And that player base roundly, my gut tells me with actually no evidence, would prefer to play the game as close to as it was intended. Now, I'm the kind of person who thinks that more options are better. There are probably some people who would look at the cartoon character and say, "A 16-year-old high school girl modeling in a bikini? Who's ever heard such of a thing? I demand that Nintendo cover up some of the outfits and change her age to 17. That would make me happy. I'm sure there's somebody out there who had those demands. At least one. And if there's at least one really odd gamer like that, I certainly don't mind the option for that. I mean, I'd even take the brunt of having to do more work. Like, okay, Andrew, you can give us $50, $60, whatever it is, for Tokyo Mirage Sessions. There are Western localization changes, but you, if you want an experience closer to the original version, you can download this patch for free that reinstates all the cleavage and ages that you were missing. I'd be okay with that. I mean, nearly every game I play these days has to update the first time I turn it on anyway. I come home from work, all right, I'm gonna hunt some monsters. Mandatory update. I guess I'll clean my kitchen instead. So, yeah. Moral of the story is, I think publishers, Nintendo and others, are better served in their localization decisions by treating localization as a way to facilitate understanding for a new audience, and not to keep the new audience from experiencing things you don't think are suitable for them. That's their call, not yours. It's really condescending when you have the gall to assume what is appropriate for me. Tell me what content is in the game, and I will decide for myself whether it is appropriate for me or my hypothetical children, which I do not have. So buttons. Let's see what's happening in the chat. Imagine being Blizzard, says Snake. Yeah, well, we'll talk about Blizzard. Nintendo said that third-party games will not be censored, but published first-party games are, of course, now still changed. Yeah, this was a Nintendo decision. The ages were changed to 18 plus for all the River says the ages were changed to 18 plus for all characters in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I don't think that's accurate. I think some of the characters are still under 18. Don't hold me to that. It doesn't really matter, but, you know, there you go. Chaos. Moral of the story, censorship bad. Yeah. I mean, look, localization, what I meant when I said localization should facilitate a new audience's understanding of the work, what I mean by that is, for example, not all changes made to a video game for a release in a new territory is censorship, right? For example, changing the language, the written language, from Japanese to English is a change. You're changing the content of the game. But you're not doing it to keep the kanji away from really sensitive Americans. You're doing it to facilitate the Americans' ability to understand what the heck they're playing. So that is a good, legitimate reason to make a change to the product for a new audience. There are some other arguments to be made for real specific cultural things. For example, I have no idea what the hell the age of drinking is in Japan, for example. So let's just pretend that the age of legally consuming alcohol in Japan is 20. Here in America, it's 21. Now, when pretend we've got a Japanese game where a character, where part of the point of the game is the character just turned of legal drinking age. That's like a story point. You may, in localizing it for a Western audience, decide to change the character's age to 21 so that makes sense for the new audience, right? You also might not, especially if it's a game that specifically takes place in Japan with Japanese characters. See, me personally, I prefer learning about different places. If it's like a fantasy world, then yeah, I would, whatever, that's fine. But if it stars Japanese characters and it takes place in Japan, well, why not use this as an opportunity to learn us some things, you know? So that's the way I approach localization. If it facilitates my understanding of the original work, I consider it a proper localization. If it prevents me from consuming part of the work because you're embarrassed by it or you don't think it's appropriate for me, that just ruffles my feathers. Let's see. Dave says Reggie called it laughable and overpriced and would watch its sales overseas. And of course, Disaster Day of Crisis never made it to the United States ever. I still want to play that. It looked fun. I mean, it doesn't look like blockbuster great, oh my god, greatest game ever, but it did look pretty cool. Also, Another Code R looked really neat. Fatal Frame, you know, there was another, there was a censorious localization made to Maiden of Black Water, which Nintendo's never sold for what I consider a reasonable price, so I've never purchased it. You've never even dropped it not even for Halloween, Nintendo! Come on! Come on! I played the demo. I thought it was okay. I played the demo and I thought, yeah, I'd pay $20 for that, but not any more than that. Drop the price, you numbnuts. So in Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater, hopefully I have the title correct, there are secret special costumes which put the characters in their underwear. I love underwear costumes. Anytime I can put a character in his or her underwear and have them run around the city, I'll do that because it's hilarious. Now, for the Western release of Maiden of Blackwater, the underwear costumes were replaced by, I think, a Metroid costume and something else. I don't remember if it's a Zero Suit Samus or something. Someone in the chat remind me what the Western special costumes were. But they were Nintendo costumes like Samus and something else, and maybe Zelda, and they were super cool, right? I mean, they were awesome. The underwear was some of the ugliest, most ill-fitting underwear I've ever seen in a video game. To the point where I was like, oh man, that ruins it for me. I don't want to run around. I like running around in underwear in video games, but I've got standards. I don't want to run around in underwear that looks like that. So it was really bad underwear. So Nintendo replaced bad underwear costumes with really cool Nintendo costumes. I still have a problem with it because Nintendo replaced the underwear costumes with the very cool and clearly far superior Nintendo costumes. Ideally, Nintendo would have added 2 new costumes. Say, okay, these underwear costumes are crap. Let's add some good ones. That would be the best thing to do. And even if they replaced them with the Nintendo costumes and made the underwear costumes like free downloads that are just buried on the game page, that if you really want them, you can have them. It's okay. But again, really weird that it's like Nintendo is uncomfortable with underwear costumes in an M-rated game about ghosts and suicide and death. Also, it's kind of problematic because those underwear costumes actually exist in a cutscene within the game, and now the characters are just wearing their normal clothes, and the cutscene doesn't really make sense anymore. Kind of a lurid, arguably inappropriate cutscene in the first place, but that's what it was originally. You know? So, if you change your mind, I get it, but I think you could even... I think it's better to let work stand alone and let people criticize it as it is, and give people the option to work around things that they may not want to see. There are games that, I mean, you remember, Call of Duty, the no Russian thing, was it Activision? That's Call of Duty, right? Activision. They put in this scene a lot of people find really upsetting. You can just skip it if you want. Fair enough. I'm glad that I think it was an ill-considered scene. Certainly problematic. But I appreciate the fact that they didn't just yank it out of the game. They gave the player an option to skip it. I think that is the ideal solution for cases such as these. When you think there is a genuine reason that a portion of your audience is going to find a particular piece of content upsetting, allow them to avoid it, but don't take it away from everyone else who wants to see it, either out of curiosity or because they would enjoy it, because then you're just ticking off one group of people when you could easily serve both, which is better, in my phenomenally humble opinion. Okay, what are we doing in the chat here? $50 never on sale. Yeah, it was Activision. No Russian was a vital story plot, but yeah, it was a smart move. If I remember, the message said this scene most find very offensive, but is very vital part of the story. If you do not wish to see, then you can skip with no consequences. Yeah, yeah. I mean, understanding that some people are. I mean, you could say, well, just don't play the game. Yeah, but I like games, and the rest of it's fun. So, you know, I think accommodating as many people as you can is the proper way to do it. Okay. Okay, that's enough of a warm-up. Let's get into the big one. Where do we even start with this? Let me attempt. This is going to end with me flailing miserably, but let me attempt to to get us all on the same page with a tortured analogy. Analogies are fun because at some point they always break down, right? Let's say that my show here, Molehill Mountain, gets really, really popular and gets a huge audience. And at some point, I create a gaming tournament for all the viewers of Molehill Mountain to get together from all over the country, nay, all over the world, to come together and play video games. And there's going to be live streaming, and there's going to be commentators and announcers, and there's going to be cash money prizes, and it's a great way to get us all together and playing and being together and having fun as gamers should. All right? So let's say this tournament, this video game tournament, commences, and Susan wins. Yay, Susan. Good job. She wins like $3,000. And so she gets up on the live stream after the whole competition, and the host and the commentator are there, and they hand her an award and the big oversized novelty check. And it says, "Congrats, Susan. Here's your check for $3,000 and your little trophy. You played that game better than everybody else played that game. Go ahead, take a bow. Say your thank yous. The floor, Susan, is yours." And Susan takes the mic and holds the statue and the check under her arm, and she says, "I just want to tell everyone that I had a wonderful time here. It was such a great experience, and I had a lot of fun. I want to thank everyone who supported me along the way, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to say that kicking puppies is wrong, and if you kick puppies, you're a mean person. Thank you, everyone, and good night." Now, being that this is my show, Molehill Mountain, I then take the award money away from Susan and permanently ban her. Ban her for a solid year from ever participating in Molehill Mountain again. And you might say, why the hell would you do that, Andrew? And I might say, well, because, she spoke out against kicking puppies. And you might say, Andrew, are you pro kicking puppies? And I'd say, no, I'm not saying I'm pro kicking puppies, and I'm not saying I'm anti kicking puppies. You see, saying you're against kicking puppies is a political statement. It's very divisive and makes some people feel bad, and we don't want that. So I'm taking a very apolitical stance here by taking her reward money away that she rightfully earned and banning her from my program for speaking out against kicking puppies. Because we don't want to offend anybody with such sentiments. And you might say, who the hell would be offended by calling people who kick puppies mean, other than people who kick puppies? What? And then you might say, Andrew, isn't Molehill Mountain sponsored by the National Organization of Puppy Kicking? Yes. Why do you ask? Would the fact that your revenue comes directly from the National Organization for Puppy Kicking have anything to do at all with you banning someone and taking their prize money away for speaking out against puppy kicking? And I'd say, no, why would you? Why would you even think that? That's so weird. It's complete coincidence. Has nothing to do with it. It's simply I had to enforce the rules. See, there are these ironclad, unbreakable rules that I am utterly beholden to. Rules that I wrote that say, I, in my sole discretion, have the ability to do anything I want. I have to adhere to that rule I wrote that governs me doing anything I want. So I had to ban her. It's only fair. Now, at this point, I hope you would agree that I look like a deplorable, disingenuous asshole, right? Okay. Let's talk about Activision Blizzard. But before we do that, I think we need to talk about China. Because Activision Blizzard's actions this month do not exist in a bubble. I say that because Activision Blizzard has, so far as I can tell, done nothing wrong legally. There's a distinction here. So far as I can tell, Activision Blizzard, nothing it's done this month has actually broken any laws. It has not done anything that it does not actually genuinely have the right to do. But again, I feel that the context surrounding these actions is very important. So we're going to back up a little bit, and we're going to talk about China. Keep in mind, however, I am not a global historian, so I'm going to be very simplified in my descriptions here. Okay. China is a place on Earth. It's really big. It looks something like this. And over in the lower right corner of China is Hong Kong, which sits out on the side of China, much like Florida kind of sits out on the side of America, right? Still there. It just kind of juts out into the water, and it's there. So that's where Hong Kong is in relation to China. Now, Hong Kong used to be colonized by the UK. That stopped about 20 years ago. And when that happened, Hong Kong became semi-autonomous of China, of the mainland China. So still China, but has its own government and own currency, and most people looking at it would say a better, more rounded sense of democracy. So, if you've watched the news since the spring, you've probably noticed very, very large protests in Hong Kong. Let me check with the chat here and just make sure I'm not missing anything totally. Okay, we're just talking about the story. Okay, good. Okay, so last spring, there was a proposed piece of legislation that would allow the extradition of Hong Kong persons of interest to mainland China. Hong Kongers, not a fan of that because they're probably afraid that they're going to get tortured or killed if that happens. So there are mass protests, although the Chinese government refers to them as riots, because of course it does. China is widely known for corruption, human rights abuses, suppression of expression. For example, there's no YouTube or Twitter there. And probably one of the stories that is most ubiquitous is images of Winnie the Pooh are not allowed because the president of China, Xi Jinping, whose name I can't pronounce, even if I have it written in front of me, does not like being compared to the lovable children's cartoon character. It pisses this grown adult off, so he said that Winnie the Pooh is now banned in China. And they can do that, because they do that. So Hong Kong is protesting. Again, let me tell you what it's protesting for. So it wants that particular extradition bill withdrawn. It is currently shelved. The governmental leader, Carrie Lam, they want her to step down. They want an inquiry into police brutality. And they want those protesters who have been arrested to be released. And they want, in general, greater democratic freedoms. Wanting greater democratic freedom seems like a decent thing, right? Okay. So, usually when a minority is being oppressed, as is the case here, Hong Kong is being oppressed by the Chinese government. A lot of people outside of that particular conflict, like people in America, people in Europe, people all over the place, will, stand in solidarity with them and show their support and say, "Yay, with democracy for Hong Kong," much like you might say trans rights now, or Black Lives Matter, or don't kick puppies 'cause it's mean, right? We can see that other people are being oppressed, and even if we're not involved because we're not the oppressors and we're not being oppressed, we can still say, "Hey, that's not a good thing. I stand with the people fighting against oppression. Rock on." Okay, so that's happening in China right now. Something else that's happening in China is money. You may have noticed in the past several years that Blockbuster Entertainment, movies specifically, a lot of times when you go see your Blockbuster movies, you'll notice a Chinese star in the movie. Or you'll notice that a lot of movies take a diversion to China. Why? Well, so we can have a better chance of selling movies in China, because it makes lots of money. So there are a lot of people in China, and a lot of times they like a lot of what we make. Even the really crappy Transformers movie. I'm not saying Chinese people have no taste. I think Chinese people just think that stuff's funny. They're like, "Oh my God, can you believe the Americans watch this? Look at this, is amazing." So a lot of companies that sell entertainment want to sell entertainment in China because there's a lot of people there to sell it to, and a lot of people there who can afford to buy it. Activision Blizzard is no different. Activision Blizzard is a multi-billion-dollar company who you may remember famously made $4 billion in 2017 on microtransactions alone. So multi-billion-dollar corporation that makes money internationally, including China. So Activision Blizzard makes billions of dollars every single year. And some of that money comes from China. You can verify this for yourself. Their financial statements are public record, and I spent a good part of today looking at them. That was a lot of fun. So I'm not going to go into specific numbers because then we'll get into a fight on revenue versus net income versus operating costs versus blah 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 blah. They make multiple billions of dollars every single year, regardless of how you cut that pie. if you read their financial statements, they mention that the last several years, approximately 52-ish% of their revenue comes from the international market, which, of course, includes China. Not just China, it also includes Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the Netherlands, South Korea, Spain, Sweden, and the United Kingdom. So they're not saying that 52% or so of our revenue comes from China. They're saying 52% comes from international. Part of that is China. But let's pretend for a moment that all of their international revenue, all 51, 52, 53% of it, comes from China. Okay? So about 50% comes from the US, 50% comes from China. It would be in the company's best interest to do what it can, within reason, within what's legal, to make sure that they can keep their Chinese business, because that's half their revenue, right? Because if you can imagine, if they lost their ability, if Activision Blizzard, a multi-billion-dollar company that pulls in billions of dollars every single year, if they were unable to make money in China, then they would only make multiple billions of dollars every year instead of even more billions of dollars on top of the billions of dollars that they make every year, right? Okay, so I hope that's provided enough context for the timeline that I'm about to lay out for you here. Let me take a drink. Gulp. Okay. On October 6th, which was a weekend, I believe. Yes, it was. That was a Sunday. On October 6th, there was a Grandmaster Hearthstone Championship in the Asia-Pacific area. The Hearthstone, if you don't know, is that it's like Magic the Gathering. It's a card game. All right? A digital card game. And Susan won. I should have written the dude's name down, but if I did, I wouldn't be able to pronounce it. So it's Blitz something. Susan won the Grandmaster Hearthstone Championship. All right. So he was on a post-win interview with two announcers. They weren't in the same room. The two announcers were on one camera. He was on another camera. And he said what has been translated as "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Time." He was speaking about the protests in Hong Kong. He was offering support and solidarity to a group of people who are being oppressed by an authoritarian government. That's nice. Yeah. Me personally, I think it's kind of nice to use your 60 seconds of, hey, you won a thing, you did good, you've got a platform, what do you want to say? Well, I want to stand up for the folks, for the Hong Kongers who ain't having it easy right now. Well, that's selfless of you. Good on you. That was on October 6th. On October 8th, Nintendo advertises an Overwatch for the Switch, because Overwatch is coming to the Switch. They advertise a launch event for Overwatch coming to the Switch, and this launch event is going to be held at the Nintendo Store in New York City, and there's going to be voice actors from the game there. So this is the following Tuesday, October 8th. So Nintendo says, hey, we're going to do this really cool Switch launch event at the Nintendo Store. Okay. That same day, October 8th, the guy who won the Grandmaster card Hearthstone Championship and said, "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Time," during a post-game interview, Blizzard suspended him for a year and revoked his prize money. and fired the interviewers that he said it to. So again, we had two interviewers who were like, Susan, you just won the Hearthstone Championship. What do you have to say? And he said, liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our time. And Blizzard fired the two announcers for being in the vicinity, suspended the guy for a year, and took away his prize money, which was north of $3,000. So, the statement posted on Blizzard's site says, during Grandmaster's broadcast over the weekend, there was a competition rule violation during a post-match interview. Blitz Chung is the dude's name, excuse me. And two casters, involving Blitz Chung and two casters. In other words, Blitz Chung said a thing we didn't like, and the two casters were there when he said it. Which resulted in the removal of this clip from the video-on-demand replay. They said, upon further review, we have found that the action has violated this particular rule, which reads, engaging in any act that, in Blizzard's sole discretion, brings you into public disrepute, offends a portion or group of the public, or otherwise damages Blizzard's image, will result in removal from the Grandmasters, reduction of prize money to 0, and any other remedy which may be provided under the handbook and Blizzard's website terms. I'm going to stop right there and analyze this. Any act that, in Blizzard's sole discretion, brings you into public disrepute, offends a portion of the offends a portion or group of the public, or otherwise damages Blizzard's image. Okay, let's analyze that. The guy offered support for Hong Kongers who are being oppressed by authoritarian government. Brings you into public disrepute. That wouldn't seem to apply, right? Just like someone advocating against kicking puppies, that I'm not sure who in the public would find that disreputable, right? So it's probably not that one. Offends a portion or group of the public. I don't know who would honestly be offended by that, except the Chinese government, who are not the public. So again, with the puppy kicking thing, if the only people you're offending is the people who kick puppies because you're calling them mean, who cares? Right? So we're left with the third one, damages Blizzard's image. I don't know that it does. Knowing China, it might damage your ability to make money there, and you might have to settle for only making multiple billions of dollars every year instead of more billions of dollars every year. But I don't think that damages your image. In fact, if you were willing to turn your nose to make less billions of dollars, that'd make you look really good. So, what are you even talking about, Blizzard? So they say effective immediately, Blitzchung is removed from the Grandmasters, receives no prizing, and is ineligible to participate for the next year. And we're also immediately stop working with both casters. They go on to say, we'd like to re-emphasize tournament and player conduct within the Hearthstone esports community from both players and talent. While we stand by one's right to express individual thoughts and opinions, players and other participants that elect to participate in our esports competitions must abide by the official competition rules. You don't appear, Blizzard, to stand by their right to express individual thoughts and expressions if, when they communicate them, you take their prize money away and ban them and stop working with the people who happen to be sitting there at the time. Also, these rules are rules that you wrote and are very broad and very vague. You could just, since you wrote your rules, you could rewrite them to just do the correct ethical, moral thing. Just a suggestion. So, later that same day, Blizzard employees of Blizzard walk out and protest by an orc statue that they have in the courtyard of the headquarters. Now, this big-ass orc statue, which is really weird looking, has this compass on the ground. This 8-point compass, which has Blizzard's 8 core values at each of the cardinal directions. Reportedly, 2 of those core values were covered up ostensibly by the protesting Blizzard employees with sheets of notebook paper, and they covered up the every voice matters tenet of core value and think globally tenet. Also on October 8th, social media platforms exploded with outrage. Reddit was all over this. Hashtag boycott Blizzard was trending on Twitter. And one dude uploaded a edited version of Mei from Overwatch, who's a Chinese character. One of her videos, those really lavishly produced video, an edited version that showed her support of Hong Kongers. And other social media users started flooding social media with artwork of Mei, again, Chinese character in Blizzard's game Overwatch, showing solidarity and support for the Hong Kong demonstrators. Also, on October 8th, bipartisan senators speak out against Blizzard's decision to do that. Let me find that. So, Senator Rubio said, "Recognize what's happening here. People who don't live in China must either self-censor or face dismissal and suspensions. China using access to market as leverage to crush free speech globally. Implications of this will be felt long after everyone in U.S. politics today is gone." Nice to see that Senator Marco Rubio has a spine when he wants one. I guess when it's something that doesn't directly affect him. In a separate tweet, Senator Ron Wyden said Blizzard shows it is willing to humiliate itself to please the Chinese Communist Party. No American company should censor calls for freedom to make a quick buck. So, got the attention of... we seem to have the Streisand effect in full effect here, Blizzard. And this is on the same damn day. Oh, we're not done with October 8th yet. So, also on October 8th, let me write this down, there was the American Collegiate Hearthstone Championship. And the American University team, right before they lost, held up a sign that said, "Free Hong Kong, boycott Blizz." They were originally planning, if they won, to do kind of the same thing during the post-game interview, but they could tell they were losing, so they just held up a sign instead. The camera cut away, and the casters pretended like nothing happened. Blizzard, what did it say about that? Nothing. Did it say anything about that the next day? Nope. The day after that? No. Nope. On October 10th, Fight for the Future, which is an online advocacy group for internet rights. They campaigned against SOPA and PIPA back in the day. They organized a protest at BlizzCon, the Blizzard convention, which is on November 1st. November 1st and 2nd, but the actual protest is on November 1st. They also have a petition you can sign and all kinds of other stuff. This brings us to October 12th, which, if we're looking at our calendar, is very late Friday, early Saturday. 12th is actually Saturday, but so Blizzard releases a statement at the end of the week when they think no one's really paying attention anymore. Claiming a couple things. One, China had no influence on its decision, and I'll read the specifics of this in a minute. It also shortened Blitz, what's his name's suspension to 6 months and returned his prize money. And the two interviewers are no longer permanently banned or fired. They are just suspended for 6 months. Again, for just being in the general vicinity. So, doop 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 doop. So here's what Alan Brack, president of Blizzard Entertainment, had to say. And before I get to that, let me check on the chat, see what's going on. Got a lot of people talking here. My social credit will drop by 150 points because they spoke about China. Okay. Anyone boycotting Blizzard needs to boycott Activision as well. Yeah, same company. And King, I guess. Their first banner, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, mistake. I explain well. Hey, thanks. Tiananmen Square 2, Electric Boogaloo. God, I hope not. Bread Dawn remake. Sorry, this is why it's nice to have a podcast co-host, so I can keep better track of the chat. Chaos points out that Tencent owns 5% of Activision Blizzard. Tencent, a Chinese company, a very, very large and influential Chinese gaming company, Tencent, does own a stake in Activision Blizzard. I don't know if it's 5%, I don't know what percentage is, but they do own part of Activision Blizzard. They also own part of Ubisoft, I think Epic. They own a lot, a distressing lot. They're kind of like Disney or AT&T. They just own a lot of stuff. Mark Kern was on Mark Kern's an asshole. Was on Rikita Law YouTube live stream talking about Blizzard China mess. Oh, okay. Let's see. But Andrew says, Jordan, they have to make all the money. Yeah. We have a theory. Didn't the interviewers... Nicholas says, didn't the interviewers duck down and try not to be in the video interview when the gamers said that? Yeah, they kind of saw that coming, because when Blitz, whatever his name is, and I do apologize, I don't mean to be rude or deriding or condescending or anything, I just can't remember the name for some reason. The guy who won Hearthstone, when he said the Liberate Hong Kong, the two casters physically ducked behind. They had little monitors in front of them, and they literally both ducked in front of the monitors in front of them, like they knew what was coming, and they probably did. Snake says the Blizzard letter was released in the morning for us, but it was dated October 11th. Okay, so that's why I was wondering, because the copy I have, I don't know what time zone it is, but it says October 12th. But my memory was it came really late Friday night, which was the 11th. So anyway, the president says, I want to take a few minutes to talk about this stuff. On Monday, we did the thing. At Blizzard, our vision is to bring the world together through epic entertainment. And we have core values that apply here. Think globally, lead responsibly, and every voice matters. Now, there's actually 8 of those, but these are the 3 important ones. Let's look and see what those actually mean real quick. So I'm looking on their site. Every voice matters. Great ideas can come from anywhere. Blizzard Entertainment is what it is today because of the voices of our players and because of the voices of our players and of each member of the community. Every employee is encouraged to speak up, listen, be respectful of other opinions, and embrace criticisms. Criticism is just another avenue for great ideas. Every voice matters was one of those core values that was covered up ostensibly by a Blizzard employee during their protest earlier in the week. Think globally, which was the other one. Everywhere on the planet, there are people who play Blizzard Entertainment games. While respecting the cultural diversity that makes people unique, we strive to grow and support our global gaming community. We also seek the most passionate, talented people in the world to enrich our company and help us forge the future vision of Blizzard Entertainment. I think really the only part they believe in there is the enrich our company part. Ha ha ha. I'm being silly. What's the other one? Was it lead responsibly? Let me double check here. Yeah, lead responsibly was the other one. Our products and practices can affect not only our employees and players, but the industry at large. As one of the world's leading game companies, we're committed to making ethical decisions. Really. Always keeping our players in mind. Really. And setting a strong example of professionalism and excellence at all times. Really. So the statement goes on. Our esports programs are an expression of our vision and values. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Let me summarize because this is really long. He says the esports tournament broadcast was used as a platform for a winner of this event to share his views with the world. We interview competitors who are at the top of the craft to share how they feel. We want to experience that moment with them. Hearing their excitement is a powerful way to bring us together. Over the weekend, Blitzchung, whose name I will forget in the next paragraph, used his segment to make a statement about the situation in Hong Kong. In violation of rules he acknowledged and understood, and this is why we took action. Every voice matters, and we strongly encourage everyone in our community to share their viewpoints in the many places available to express themselves. However, the official broadcast needs to be about the tournament and to be a place where all are welcome. In support of that, we want to keep the official channels focused on the game. Second, what's the role of shoutcasters for these broadcasts? The two people who didn't say anything, they fired initially just because they were there. He says, we hire shoutcasters to amplify the excitement of the game. They elevate the watchability and help the esports viewing experience stay focused on the tournament for our amazing players. Did they not do that, Blizzard? Were our actions based on the content of the message? Yes, but this is what they say. Part of thinking globally, leading responsibly, and every voice matters is recognizing that we have players and fans in almost every country in the world. Our goal is to help players connect in areas of commonality, like their passion for our games, and create a sense of shared community. The specific views expressed by Blitzchung were not a factor in the decision we made. I want to be clear, our relationship in China had no influence on our decision. I don't believe you. I don't think many people do. Because all of your actions, Blizzard, appear to be directly influenced by your relationship in China. You seem to have done what you did, not because the rules which you wrote state you have to do that, but because the rules allow you to interpret it that way. And the reason you wanted to interpret it that way is because you were deathly afraid that China, who did not say anything between the time when he said that and you made your announcement of what you were going to do, would, that action would jeopardize your ability to make even more billions of dollars on top of the billions of dollars that you already make every single year, Blizzard. We have these rules to keep the focus on the game and on the tournament to the benefit of a global audience, and that was the only consideration in the actions we took. I remind everyone that he said this not during the game. He didn't stop playing the game. He said this during a post-game interview. It was one sentence. It was, well, the translation is 7 words. I don't know if that counts as removing the focus from the game, but If this had been the opposing viewpoint, delivered in the same divisive and deliberate way, we would have felt and acted the same. Blizzard, I should certainly hope that if this guy had got on camera and said, oppress the Hong Kongers, lock them up, torture them, I would think it would be appropriate to probably sever ties with that dude. Probably still deserves the award money because he did win the tournament, but yeah, probably banning him. Yeah, you're not welcome here. Like if he had got on and said, I promote kicking puppies. Kick the puppies. Kick all the puppies. That, I would agree, would be a very divisive thing to say. I don't know why you consider democracy now for Hong Kongers divisive. Who would find that divisive other than the people oppressing them? Blizzard. The same people who allow you to make multiple billions on top of the multiple billions that you already make every year. Blizzard. He goes on to say, what could Blizzard have done better and where do we go from here? Lots of people have expressed their concerns. We've had a chance to pause, to listen to our community, and to reflect on what we could have done better. In hindsight, our process wasn't adequate, and we reacted too quickly. We want to ensure that we maintain a safe and inclusive environment for all our players and that our rules and processes are clear. All of this in service of another important Blizzard value, play nice, play fair. In the tournament itself, Blitzchung played fair, and I say it like that because it's literally italicized. It's got asterisks around it. Which kind of implies that he wasn't fair after the tournament. Like saying liberate Hong Kong is unfair and not nice. You know, play nice, play fair. That's not nice or fair. Speaking up for the oppressed. That's I wouldn't say you're dying on it, Blizzard, but that's an interesting hill you're placing your bum against, at least. They go on. We now believe he should receive his prizing. Well, the prizing he earned by winning the tournament. Good, nice of you, Blizzard. Nice job. We understand that for some this is not about the game, and perhaps for others it is disrespectful to even discuss it. That's not our intention. It doesn't matter what your intentions were, Blizzard. It matters what you did, Blizzard. But being fair also includes appropriate pre- and post-match conduct, especially when a player accepts recognition for winning in a broadcast. When we think about suspension, 6 months for Blitzchung is more appropriate. Is it now, Blizzard? After which time he can compete in the Hearthstone Pro Circuit again if he so chooses. There is a consequence for taking the conversation away from the purpose of the event and disrupting or derailing the broadcast with what translates into a single 7-word sentence. With regard to the casters, remember the 2 people who didn't do anything, they just happened to be there at the time. Remember, their purpose is to keep the event focused on the tournament. That didn't happen here. They failed to predict that he would say the thing and stop him before they did, so we're setting their suspension to 6 months. You have to imagine that EA is watching all this Activision Blizzard stuff and going like, "Woo! We're definitely not the worst company in America this year." Moving forward, we'll continue to apply tournament rules to ensure our official broadcasts remain focused on the game and are not a platform for divisive social or political views. Yes, divisive social and political views like government shouldn't oppress people and and democracy is good, yo. That's very divisive to the oppressors who we make billions of dollars from on top of the billions of dollars we already make. So that's what Blizzard had to say about that. Let me tune in with the chat and see what the chat has to say. What about the dangerous puppies? Got got a couple in review here. Let me. Yeah. Mm. Pardon me for pausing. I'm just trying to catch up with the chat, seeing if there's anything I want to respond to. A lot of people saying I don't think the president actually wrote that whole thing. Yeah, probably not. I'm sure he signed off on it, but yeah, that was probably not literally written by the president of Activision Blizzard. Um, okay, so that was October 12th. October 14th, the next Monday, Blizzard canceled the October 16th Overwatch launch event for the Switch at the Nintendo store in New York City. And Nintendo threw Blizzard under the bus, tweeting, "Please be aware that the previously announced Overwatch launch event, scheduled for Wednesday the 16th at Nintendo New York City, has been canceled by Blizzard. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused." Uh-huh. The next day, October 15th, Blizzard postponed the 15th anniversary World of Warcraft event in Taiwan, which was supposed to be this weekend. Also on October 15th, that same day, the American University team, remember the collegiate players who, in solidarity, held up a boycott Blizz sign, Free Hong Kong boycott Blizz sign. They announced on Twitter that Blizzard had banned them for 6 months. So, yeah, took Blizzard a week, but they said, those American dudes who did the same thing that the Chinese dude did, we should probably do the same thing, otherwise it looks like we're not applying the rules favorably, and it looks even more like we're capitulating to Chinese monetary interests. Yeah. So the Casey Chambers, one of the American team members, posted the letter on Twitter, and the rule violation that this one cited was sportsmanship and professionalism, which reads, "Participants may not take any action or perform any gesture directed at another participant, TESPA admin, or any other party, or incite others to do the same thing, which is abusive." What did the sign that they held up briefly say? It said, "Free Hong Kong," who again is being oppressed by an authoritarian government, "boycott Blizz." So abusive? I wouldn't say so. I don't think Blizzard likes the message, but I wouldn't call it abusive. Insulting? No. Mocking? Nope. Or disruptive? I can't say I find a sign held up for a few seconds disruptive. So, but that's the rule that they cited when suspending this team for 6 months. Blizzard. October 18th. Yesterday, a bipartisan group of American congresspeople, both senators and House representatives, wrote Bobby Kotick a letter asking him to change his mind. Bobby Kotick's the CEO, I believe, of Activision Blizzard. So, dear Mr. Kotick, Bobby, if we may, we write to express our deep concern about Activision Blizzard's decision to make player Susan, because I'm going to butcher your name, sir. I'm very sorry. My knowledge of Chinese phonetics is like non-existent. forfeit his prize money and ban him from participating in tournaments for a year after he voiced support for pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. This decision is particularly concerning in light of the Chinese government's growing appetite for pressuring American businesses to help stifle free speech. Activision Blizzard benefits from China's growing market for esports, along with an investment from Tencent, one of China's largest technology firms. As you and your company are no doubt aware, the Chinese government uses the size and strength of its economy to suppress opinions with which it disagrees. And suppress images of Winnie the Pooh. Because the very stable adult in charge of Beijing is really upset by images of Winnie the Pooh, a children's cartoon character beloved by children. I don't want anyone comparing me to an image beloved by children. Sorry. That is just so silly. Last week alone, the Chinese government targeted Apple for hosting an app to help peaceful demonstrators evade repression, and the National Basketball Association because one team's general manager tweeted in support of Hong Kong protests. That's a whole nother can of worms. Your company claims to stand by one's right to express individual thoughts and opinions, yet many of your own employees believe that Activision Blizzard's decision to punish Mr. Chung's, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, Mr. Chung's runs counter to those values. Because your company is such a pillar of the gaming industry, your disappointing decision could have a chilling effect on gamers who seek to use their platform to promote human rights and basic freedoms. Indeed, many gamers around the world have taken notice of your company's actions, understandably calling for boycotts of Activision Blizzard gaming sites. Streisand effect. Pardon me. As China amplifies its campaign of intimidation, you and your company must decide whether to look beyond the bottom line and promote American values like freedom of speech and thought, or give in to Beijing's demands in order to preserve market access. We urge you in the strongest terms to reconsider your decision with respect to Mr. Chung. You have the opportunity to reverse course. We urge you to take it. Sincerely, Ron Wyden and Marco Rubio, the two dudes who I mentioned tweeted earlier in the week, but also congressional members Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Mike Gallagher, and Tom Malinowski. And I apologize for the names I continually butcher. I'm not doing it to be an ass. So, that brings us to today. Let's see what's happening in the chat. Blizzard isn't dealing with things right, but on the other hand, it's not really respectful to protest during an event, even if it's civil. There's a time and place for everything. True, but personally, and you're free to disagree, I feel that a post-game interview where people are asking you about your opinions and who you are. And like Blizzard actually said, the post-game interview is to get to know these people and see what makes them tick and make us a closer community. That seems like an appropriate time. I mean, again, he didn't interrupt the actual game. If you watch the Oscars or any of the award shows, award recipients very often will take their time at the microphone to thank whoever they want for the award, but also use that opportunity to talk about the things that they feel are important. And sometimes that can be annoying, and even I will find myself rolling my eyes, especially if someone talks about something that I personally don't care about, which, I'll be clear, is never human rights abuses. I care about civil rights and things like that. That never bothers me. You want to anyone who's like trans rights now, I'm sitting there like absolutely. So but if someone gets into like, I think McDonald's should bring back Szechuan sauce, I'll admit I will start rolling my eyes and be like, oh my god. Or if they go on a tirade about how bad season 8 of Game of Thrones was. I mean, that's your moment, man. Take it. If that's what you want to talk about, great. Me personally, as long as no one is espousing hate speech or advocating for harm to come to people or being obscene, like whipping their genitals out or using racial epithets, hey, say what you want. Bobby Kotick is one of the biggest cancers in the entire industry. I think Activision Blizzard and many multi-billion-dollar corporations, if they weren't so slavishly devoted to acquiring every single penny in existence, could be amazing forces for good. And to be clear, they do a lot of good things. Providing entertainment in these dark times is no small thing, right? That is a valuable thing in and of itself, divorced from all other context. But I think, how amazing would it be for a company to say, you know what? We're willing to only make $4 billion this year. I'm just picking numbers. We have morals and ethics and standards. We are willing to only make $4 billion this year instead of $8 billion. In order to do what's right, to stand up for the oppressed, to tell the oppressors that no, you don't control us. We will turn our noses up at your billions of dollars. We still have billions of dollars of our own, so it doesn't really mean that much, but still, capitalism, and who would have thunk we would have done that? Oh my God, that would be amazing PR. I mean, the shareholders would probably hate it, but, I mean, how cool would that be? You remember when Satoru Iwata, president of Nintendo before he passed away a few years ago, Nintendo wasn't doing really great in the Wii U era, so instead of, giving himself a raise and firing a bunch of people, he instead gave himself and a bunch of other upper management pay cuts, and then did the same thing the next year, so he didn't have to fire anybody. That was cool. Completely unrelated. Nothing to do with this. I just thought I'd bring that up. But yeah, Bobby, you're overpaid, bud. You make more money than you could ever possibly spend. And it is... I don't know about you, Mr. Kotick. Can I call you Bobby? But if I made tens of millions of dollars, and Bobby Kotick could make hundreds of millions. I don't know what his worth is. But if I made tens of millions of dollars, I would feel really, really bad if anyone at the company I worked for was making less than minimum wage or was living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, maybe money corrupts, but I have to think that I'd be like, you know what? If I just cut my salary in half and just divided it evenly, which wouldn't be the best way to do it, but stay with me here, and just divided it fairly, let's say, among all the employees of my company to make sure that no one's living paycheck to paycheck, no one's a car issue or a broken appliance or a broken leg or ruptured kidney away from financial ruin, I'd do that. I'd cut my salary in half, and I would subsist on the remaining tens of millions of dollars, just to make sure that my employees were happy and comfortable, 'cause I'm just that gregarious a guy. Not to, toot my own horn or anything. Ah. Let's. Okay. River says, I don't know, but I think Reggie did not volunteer a personal salary cut, only the Japanese exec. Yeah, I don't know. My takeaway from the news articles that I read was that applied to Satoru Iwata and the upper management of NCL, the Nintendo Japan. Had nothing to do with Nintendo of Europe or Nintendo of America or Nintendo anywhere else. Take that for what it's worth. So, that happened this month. And BlizzCon is in a couple weeks. For now, unless Blizzard cancels it. I mean, we already know there is an organized boycott that's going to be right outside on Saturday. You, you think Blizzard is going to be open to like audience Q&A or anything? Hey, remember last year when the audience at BlitzCon gave Blizzard guff for I forget what game it was, but it was a mobile game that nobody wanted. It's like new Diablo, yay for mobile. What? What? No. Um, remember that kerfuffle? You think something like that will happen again? You think the audience will give Blizzard a little bit of guff over this? It'll be interesting to see. The costume is thick, says Snake, so you got a good 10 to 20 seconds before the Chinese security guards remove your poo head costume and beat you down. Diablo Mobile. Okay, yeah, Diablo. Last year, we got a new Diablo. You're all going to love it. It's for mobile. And everyone's like, I know it's not April, but is this like an early April Fool's joke or anything like that? No? You're serious? You actually got all your hardcore fans here to announce a mobile game? Did you think this would go over well? Now, you guys on the stage, I'm pretty sure you knew this wasn't going to go over well. I'm talking to the guys that sent you out here to die. Did they think this was going to go over well? Do I have a phone? Yeah, I have a phone. Why? What? Snake and Jordan both just don't. You guys have phones? Yes, I have. Oh! Right. That was the. I'm sorry. You're right. That was Blizzard's response, and I gotta hand it to them. They did their best. The dudes on stage that were sent out to die. What could they do? But they announced the mobile game, Diablo Mobile, and the people are like, "Is this an April Fool's joke? We don't want console. We want it on PC. Gosh darn it!" And the guys on stage are like, "What? You guys y'all got phones, don't you? You can still play it because y'all got phones." It's like, it's not the point. Oh God, that reminds me of one of the Microsoft dudes when the Xbox One came out. They were trying to defend their always on thing, and someone said something similar to that. It's like, well, you have an internet connection, don't you? Everyone's got internet, don't you? Something like that. How long before someone rushes the BlitzCon stage dressed as Pooh Bear? I imagine at the very least, if BlizzCon still goes out there, there's going to be a lot of T-shirts and a lot of gas masks and umbrellas, which are worn a lot by the protesters in Hong Kong. So, yeah, it's oh, River has a cheap phone that can't even play Mario Run. So that's That's the news. It's going to be a dumpster fire. I would not be surprised, and it will be glorious. I have to admit, there's Schadenfreude. I'm hoping Blizzard doesn't cancel BlizzCon because I'm as immature and childish as it may be. I am kind of looking forward to the shenanigans and for Blizzard to be rightfully embarrassed by doing utterly the wrong thing for the utterly wrong reasons. Um, I don't think. I really despise when advocacy, when any statement um, is treated as controversial or divisive or potentially offensive to certain groups when that statement is don't kick puppies, it's mean, or don't oppress people, or, you know, let people use the bathroom, or everyone should have civil rights. You know, those kind of statements aren't divisive or controversial or because the only people who disagree with that are terrible people, right? The only people upset by saying, hey, oppressed people shouldn't be oppressed are the oppressors. Let me use my puppy kicking analogy again. The only people upset by advocating non-puppy kicking are people who kick puppies. If I say don't kick puppies, it's mean. Well, you're going to upset the puppy kickers, Andrew. I don't care. No one should care if we upset people who kick puppies. Because kicking puppies, don't know if you've heard, it's bad. So, them's my thoughts. So, I think maybe I'll go out for sushi or something. Oh my God, Chaos! That's exactly what I was referring to. Thank you. Don Matrick, at the time head of Xbox, said, this is paraphrased, but says, we have a product for people who don't have the internet. It's called the Xbox 360. Wow. Just wow. Jordan says, Andrew, use your fan base to get dressed as a fleet of poos to mob BlitzCon. Yeah, all five of us. My fan base. How many people? Oh, well, I've got 11 people watching right now. So all 11 of us, let's go to BlitzCon in 2 weeks. I actually can't because the Extra Life charity marathon is literally that day. So I can't go to BlitzCon. I'll be busy. But, hey, if you go to BlitzCon dressed as Pooh Bear, take a picture and send it to me, because that's great. Snake says, it's not immature. Blizzard sucks. Blizzard's a horrible company. Yeah. I'm trying to think, do I play any... Not that... well, I don't like any of their games. That doesn't matter. I'm trying to think, do I play any of Activision Blizzard's games? I can't think of any. I'm not a Call of Duty guy. I don't play Hearthstone. Yeah. No, I don't think so. So... The puppy was asking for it, man. But what if the puppy was humping your leg? Okay, extenuating circumstances may apply. Scotty walks in late. Sorry, I'm late. Why does Andrew kick puppies? Oh, man. It was a tortured analogy, which was honestly kind of unnecessary. I mean, this isn't a. I mean, it's a lot. It's involved. I mean, we're at 8:30 now. This took me an hour to talk through everything that happened between October 6th and today. But I think it's pretty clear to everyone that this is just kind of crap. You know. So yeah, Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, Actibliz, if I may. Uh, do better. You can afford to do the right thing. So do the right thing. You know? Just I mean I could understand if like it's not like all of your revenue came from like I would understand why Tencent would pull this crap because they're literally a Chinese company and the government would probably shut them down if they didn't. I don't know this for certain. I don't live in China. This is an assumption on my ignorant Western part. But Blizzard, no, you could survive on the other multiple billions of dollars that you make. I mean, yeah, you'd be missing out on some of your billions, but you'd still have billions. So can't say I'm particularly sympathetic to your plight there, Actibliz. Any updates on Discord server? No, but I guess oh, I actually tested Discord with my sister last week or the week before to see if it might be a decent platform to podcast from, because Skype doesn't. Because Google Hangouts did that awesome thing where you could just dial in, it would stream straight to YouTube, and it would automatically switch the camera for you. I can't find anything else that actually does that. Skype is a unreliable pain in the butt, but Discord seemed to be fairly solid and allowed me to at least do a consistent split screen without watermarks all over the place. So maybe that's an option. I don't know. Still looking into it. Probably not going to look into it too heavily until after the charity event. But again, something I'm considering. My hesitations are it's something I just don't have a whole hell of a lot of time to moderate. But we'll see. The soft, fleshy part of the belly just feels so good on my boot, and the sound after the fact, like wedding bells. Jordan, jeez. 11 people Discord server, maximum, comfy. Rotten Tanuki says the right thing or billions of dollars. Well, you see, it isn't an either or. It's the right thing or more billions of dollars on top of the billions of dollars that we already have. So, again, not terribly sympathetic to that catch. It's not even a catch 22. It's a catch 2. It's just a catch 2. There's no 22 there. That's a catch 2. Do the right thing, Blizzard. Snake says, I moderated a 14,000 member server. Wow. Super Metal Dave dropping by. He's dropping by the. He will be here live in person sometime on the charity stream. Probably around the same time, so early evening ish. 4 or 5 in the afternoon, probably somewhere around there. That's when he's planning to come by. So yeah, I need to eat. I'm starving to death. So pardon me. So let's sign off here. Andrew Eisen here. Follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen, and you're watching this on YouTube, so you know my channel. Oh yeah, Postal 4. Yeah, I saw that. It's got the kitty silencer. The kitty on the end of the handgun, but you can pet the kitty. That's amazing. Otherwise, it looks like Postal. It looks like obnoxious fun. Um, so, Extra Life charity event. 2 more weeks. Saturday after next starts at noon Pacific Standard Time on Saturday, November 2nd. My sister will be here for the entire thing. Super Metal Dave will be here for part of it. I'll be playing Super Mario Maker 2. And if you want me to play your levels, simply donate $10 and put your course ID in the message box in the donation form, and I'll play it during the show. I'll also be playing Monster Hunter World Iceborne, so if you have that game on the PS4 and a PlayStation Plus subscription, you can go on hunts with me. But if you faint, you have to donate $5, and I'm holding myself to that same standard. So every time I faint, I'll donate $5. So if you want to play Monster Hunter with me, great, but bring your A game, otherwise it could get really expensive. And as I said in the video promoting this, if I end up like donating a ton of money to Rady Children's because I keep fainting over and over, it's totally on purpose because I'm a generous guy. It's not because I really suck at Monster Hunter. Just want to put that out there. Also, you can use your donation to vote on which hat my hunter wears, from the Wiggler head to the top hat. It's on the donation page. So, there are also stretch goals. We'll do some type of active game like Just Dance if we make enough money. We'll also do a After Dark game. Was thinking about Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter, but that game's terrible, so looking into something else. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you'd like to make a donation, go to extra-life.org/participant/Andrew Eisen and make a donation. It's tax deductible. Every penny goes to helping hospitalized kids. And yeah. So, also I haven't announced this yet. At least I don't think. Big gimmick this time is my sister is going to be giving me a makeover. So the more money we raise, the more elaborate the makeover gets. So that'll be fun. And during the show, I'll allow you to vote on, what color of eyeshadow and what style of eyeliner I get. That kind of stuff. So it'll be fun. So I hope you're all looking forward to the show. I know I am. And golly gee willikers, that's it for this. I gotta eat. I'm also melting because it's hot and I need a haircut. So cool. Jordan, let me unmoderate your comment. Jordan says, sucking at video games for the children. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Night Trap is $4.49 on the eShop right now. That's actually not a bad choice. That is an amazingly silly game, and of historical importance too. That was one of the big let me get some pearls so I can clutch them type of games that clearly none of our Congress members actually looked at a single frame of that game, because it is goofy as hell. If you've never seen it, it's definitely worth look up the history of it, look at what people were saying about it, then actually watch the game. It's kind of funny and depressing at the same time. Snake says, I will work overtime solely so I can have your sister make you look like a clown. I will not look like a clown, I will look beautiful. So, that could be the After Dark game. I just lost the name. Night Trap. Yeah. Phantasmagoria. Which one am I thinking of? Probably Phantasmagoria 2 is the funnier one of the two. I think, if I'm remembering them right, the first one was really straightforward and kind of dull, and the second one was just almost like late night Cinemax movie weird. Anyway. Save the haircut for the streams, shave bald for the kids. That's actually one of the ideas I've floated around. If we raise this much money, I'll let you, my sister will cut my hair. Mohawk, reverse mohawk, shave bald, something like that. Not doing that this year, but we may do that another year. So that's something I have considered. Also considered, like, Jello in the pants or pudding in the pants or something like every time we reach a goal I have to dump pudding in my pants. I'm thinking that's hilarious, but I don't know if I want to sit there with a pants full of pudding for 24 hours, and also that I'd have to lay down tarps, and that would probably really smell after a while. So so yeah, I have a lot of ideas. Not every one of them is going to make it in this year, but go on location and let the kids shave your head. So go to Rady Children's. I've actually spoken with the people at Rady Children's and see if there was anything we could do with actually doing the show there. Um, it's logistically really difficult because it requires requires a setup, it requires waivers, it requires a bunch of things. Probably not going to happen, but if I could get that to happen, that would be really cool. I would like to do something like that where I just where I'd probably just like set up just have all the kids play, like put up Mario Kart 8 or Splatoon or something like that, and just when the kids can, let them come in and play the game. That'd be super cool. And I just sit aside and moderate or cheerlead and fire anyone who stands out against human rights abuses. Go back to your room, you rights advocating sick child, you. So okay, all right. That did I see Joker movie yet? No, because I'm not going to the theater to see it. I haven't seen anything in the theater since Spider-Man. There's a bunch of things I'd like to see. Joker's fairly far down the list, so probably not going to see it in the theater. Would like to see it though. Um, I mean, it doesn't look as I didn't see like Batman versus Superman or Justice League or what was the other Suicide Squad because they looked terrible. Joker doesn't look terrible. It looks like it could be good or could be bad. I don't know. It's just not something that says, "Ooh, gotta go see that." I plan to see it at some point though, so maybe when it's on Netflix or something. I'll definitely let you know what I think about it once I see it. Um, yeah, I'm familiar with the setup of the film, the general premise, and I think that could be super interesting. I just nothing about the trailers really grabbed me. Again, I'm not down on the movie. I don't think it's going to be bad. I don't think it doesn't look bad. I just nothing quite grabbing me and saying, "Hey, get to the theater now." It's like, I'll see that at some point. So yeah. All right, that's it for me. Thank you everyone for hanging with me for this really long episode. And again, I hope to see you all on the Extra Life charity event. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope for those of you who have Super Mario Maker 2, I hope you donate $10 and submit a level. I've got 3 submitted levels so far. 2 are based on Monster Hunter and 1 is based on Molehill Mountain, which is kind of amazing. So, $10 donation, and I will play one of your Super Mario Maker 2 levels. That's it. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.